We have a very eclectic mix of releases for this edition of The Flash, so I'm going to jump right into things, starting with The Sound of Music on Blu-ray. This is the high-definition debut for the classic film, and of course, it is a classic film, so what is there to say about it? It's a well-loved film for a reason. Great music, great cast, great story. I don't really know anybody who can complain about The Sound of Music. Now, in high definition, it's the first time. It looks fantastic, really great picture quality for a movie that's 45 years old. Not perfect, obviously there's some age imperfections, but overall it looks really, really good. Sounds even better. It's a 7.1 DTS HD surround soundtrack, and while it's not the most active mix in terms of every moment of the movie has something going on in the rear speakers, the music sounds fantastic, the dialogue is clean and clear, and the soundtrack really does hold up quite well. Now, this is a 3-disc set. It is loaded with extra features, including some new for the Blu-ray, including Your Favorite Things, an interactive celebration, which is sort of the on-screen viewing experience that Fox does, where you can watch with behind-the-scenes pictures and lyrics and a trivia track and a location quiz and all sorts of stuff. There's also a sing-along, audio commentaries, which include Julie Andrews, Christopher Plummer, and director Robert Wise, so that's a nice bonus, and some BD Live materials. In addition, there's a Creating the Sound of Music all-new interactive backlot tour, which has featurettes on the entire making of the movie, a City of Song, which is a virtual map of the filming locations for the film, vintage Rodgers and Hammerstein and Sound of Music programs, plus a whole bunch of mini features like screen tests, interviews, photo galleries, and stuff like that. There's a couple additional featurettes on the DVD. There's also the sing-along, and there's the Sound of Music tour. So there's a lot of extra features on this set. It's really worth your money if you're a fan of the Sound of Music. Next up, completely opposite, we have The Best Worst Movie, and this is a documentary that's gotten some notoriety for being kind of a love letter to the worst movie ever made, Troll 2. It's a really, really fun film that is actually much better than the movie that it's about, and it's this, if you're not familiar with Troll 2, it's this sort of low-budget, like super, super low-budget horror movie that's so incredibly bad, it makes Ed Wood films look like genius, and one of the child stars of the film is the director of Best Worst Movie, which has gotten a lot of critical acclaim, and for good reason. It's really enjoyable, entertaining look at this just horrible film and sort of what went into making it and how it's sort of gained this cult following as the worst movie ever made. Not available on Blu-ray, but the DVD does include a good number of extra features, over an hour of materials. You get deleted scenes and interviews, a music video, contributions from the fans, a filmmaker Q&A from Creative Screenwriting Magazine, and a message from the Goblin Queen from Troll 2, Deborah Reed. Next up, we have a film collection that can really best be described as for diehard Cher fans only. If you're a fan of Cher, you will enjoy the Cher film collection. It includes 6 films, and those films are Good Times, Chastity, Silkwood, Moonstruck, Mermaids, and Tea with Mussolini. Now, I'm not the world's biggest Cher fan, but she's okay. Of these films, though, really the only 2 that stand out are Moonstruck and Mermaids. Moonstruck, of course, is sort of a very well-loved 80s romantic comedy, and it's a good film. And Mermaids is sort of a quirky not romantic, but it's sort of a quirky comedy with Christina Ricci and Winona Ryder along for the ride. Now, those films are enjoyable. The rest of them, Good Times and Chastity, are very early on in Cher's career, and they're okay. They're not really great films. And then there's Silkwood, which is more of a kind of a heavy drama. And I know it's also a pretty well-respected film, but in my opinion, it's not really something that I enjoy watching all that much. Then there's Tea with Mussolini, which really the less said about, the better, frankly. It's just not a very good film in any way, shape, or form. Sadly, the collection doesn't come with any extra features, but if you know somebody who's a Cher aficionado, it does at least make for a nice holiday gift. Next up, we have a special edition remaster of Paul McCartney's classic album, Band on the Run. Now, what makes this worthy of a DVD review is the fact that this 3-disc set comes with a DVD. So what you get are 2 music CDs. That includes the remastered album, as well as a disc of rarities. And then you get a DVD, which includes some real good rarities for Paul McCartney fans. There's a number of music videos, some album promos, and then a TV special called One Hand Clapping, which which has about 15 live tracks from the album and from McCartney's solo career performed live. So it's a really nice package in terms of what it contains. On top of that, you get a great booklet with it that includes photos, an essay, liner notes, lyrics, and then the whole entire package is in this just great package that it has pictures everywhere. It's really sturdily put together, and it's labeled as part of the Paul McCartney Archive Collection. So it really looks sharp. The sound is great on the album. It's a fantastic album, and all the extra features really make it worth it. This is the kind of archival material that fans just eat up. And frankly, as a huge Beatles and Paul McCartney fan, it's hard to complain about it. Next up, we have a tribute to Sam Kinison, Back from Hell, in which a number of comedians pay tribute to Sam Kinison. It mixes footage of Kinison's performances, live performances, and combined with interviews, and you hear from people like Dennis Leary, Chris Rock, Jay Leno, Kathy Griffin, Norm Macdonald, inexplicably Ice-T, and George Lopez, who I guess is a comedian, even though I don't find him particularly funny. It's an interesting program. I think mostly it's going to be something that people who really enjoy Sam Kinison are going to get the most out of. Watching the special, you can certainly see his talent, but it's if you don't really like his shtick all that much, this won't do a whole lot for you. There are a few extra features on the disc that include stories from the Comedy Store with people like Pauly Shore, Mark Maron, a couple others. Also a live performance and music video of Wild Thing by Sam Kinison, and some additional Kinison stand-up, which is probably going to be actually the thing that most people will enjoy the most who are Sam Kinison fans. Next, we have Bing Crosby, the Television Specials, Volume 2, the Christmas Specials. This is, of course, themed for Christmas. I did review the first Bing Crosby Television Specials collection, and I enjoyed it very much. It's sort of a neat kind of archive of classic Hollywood and classic kind of Hollywood music, and, of course, Bing Crosby. A lot of guest stars like David Bowie, the Crosby Family, Robert Goulet, Twiggy, Frank Sinatra, and it comes packaged with a 6-page booklet, which is always nice, some good liner notes, and this is a number of his Christmas shows. So it's a 2-disc set, and what you get are a color special from 1962, a special from 1971, you get Bing's final special, and a couple other ones. You also get as bonus material Happy Holidays with Bing and Frank, which is a color Christmas episode of the Frank Sinatra Show. You get outtakes from the 1962 Crosby Christmas special, Toys for Tots PSA with Bing Crosby, and a kind of a promotional film called Bing's Britain, which is a tourism film, if you will, that sees Bing Crosby talking about England. So it's a pretty neat set, especially if you are a fan of Bing Crosby and or if you like classic Hollywood and classic Christmas specials.